أيا طالب العلم قم لا تنم فإن الزمان أيا طالب العلم قم لا تنم فإن الزمان انقضى وانصرم فكن ما حييت ضنينا به فظنك
have 1,006 years after. So when we they say Hijrah, once a Hijrah, we should understand that okay, this is when Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam migrated from Mecca to Medina after being persecuted for more than 12 years. You understand? Now, uh, we said that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam he commanded the Muslims that, "Oh Muslims, Allah has commanded me that you make migration to Medina." Now, before this, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam actually told them that I have seen in a dream the land that Allah wants you to wants us to go. Like they are being persecuted, and Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is now saying that I have seen in a dream the land that Allah wants us to go. Sure, you understand. Now, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu now described the land. He said the land is filled with date palms. The land is filled with date palms, and it is in between two mountains. You understand? It is in between this. So this is the description given. Now we can see that all these things they are coming up together, and this when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give you that honor, wants to take you out of that punishment, a lot of things are going to happen. We could see the second Aqaba just happened, the first Hijrah is going, the command to do the Hijrah has been done. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saw a dream. So all these things are happening together that is making the Hijrah to to happen. So now we now said, okay, what I said now, I said Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saw in a dream. Now the picture that was sent to group. Okay, thank you. I just saw the 46 that I said. So the picture that we said that we sent to group, we can see that this is a helicopter view. How do we put it? Like the map view of what Prophet Muhammad said about Medina, and this is a modern Medina. Look at Medina. You can see that Medina is in between two mountains. And I don't know if you're able to understand what I'm saying. Look at the picture well. We can see it now because 1446 years ago, later, how amazing it is that Allah actually made this city to be between two mountains. Like we can get the view once now. They could not even get that, but they knew that okay, this mountain is here and this mountain is here, and it will be difficult, though it is still realistic for them because they are living there to know that okay, mountain was like Bele, mountain was like Bele. But we can see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed this mountain between the two between the cities. No, the city between the mountains, between the two mountains. Yeah, I think that's right that way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to see this in a dream, and he said that the land is land of date palms, and we know that Medina is a land of date palms, and up or even now, as you know, on date palms, I want Guinea, but like then that everything was garden. So Prophet Sallallahu initially thought it would be Khaybar because Khaybar is a land of date palm also, but it is not between two mountains. So eventually, with all these things that happened, he realized that it is Medina that Prophet Sallallahu was talking about. And then for the last time, maybe last time or not, we should know that Medina by now is not called Medina. It is not called Medina. It is called Yathrib. It is going to be called Medina when Prophet Sallallahu gets there and he renames it himself. Now, Hijrah that we said it is migration. Like once again, the concept of migration, it is giving up everything that you have. You can imagine a family that is well established. Ilé tó ti kọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó ti ní gbogbo farm tó ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ tó ní all his businesses. This is where he's surviving. That year ago, you cannot even survive in another land until to Walora Jambe to Padawali. Sure, you understand? Now you have to give everything you have honed up to go and live like a refugee in another place. And by now we are going to understand the concept of all the explanations that our scholars used to give us. Like look at the first hadith, innamal amal biniyah. Like when we were told that okay, some people had to travel and then they had to share their wives, they had to share their belongings. You're like, what is happening? we cannot even consume it very well because we are living in a modern life. But now that we've gone through the series of we've gone through the beginning of the Seerah, we can see how tasky is going to be for them. Like they are giving up everything they have. Nǹkan mélòó ni camel fẹ́ gbé? This is not your normal bus, or you are going to get this partial. You understand? You want to, even from here now in our present time, it is not easy to do what we travel. You can't do all those things. You can see how difficult it is for them. They have limited loads that they can carry. Upon all these things, they cannot even travel when the Quraysh are going to see them. They have to travel secretly. So most of the time, you just have to carry that one important bag, carry your family, and then run away. That's the Hijrah. We can see how hard the Hijrah is going to be. And if we see Allah promising the Muhaajirun, we can see that it is very, very deserving for the sacrifice they made. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all that we are trying to do also. May Allah multiply the hajr of our sacrifices also. We can never meet up to what the forerunners of Islam, what they did. Now, the Muslims, they started migrating secretly. Now, everyone that is migrating, once you are caught, you are going to the prison. That is it. Anyone that is caught that you are trying to sneak out and migrate, because we said the bulk of the Muslim already migrated to Abyssinia before. Now another set is planning to migrate to Medina. Now we are going to be questioning, like, if they are migrating, why is it that they are catching them up and they are detaining them? It is understandable that once the Muslim they migrate to Medina, they will have power to now fight against Quraysh. So the Quraysh have to play they have to prevent that before the Muslim migrated. Eventually, the bulk of the Muslim migrated, and some were caught. Some Muslims were caught, and then they were detained. In fact, some were detained for so many years, up until the conquest of Makkah. Now we are going to be understanding a lot of things, a lot of language that are used in our life. When they say conquest of Makkah, you be like, how did the Prophet Muhammad, how can he conquer Makkah? When they made him flee, when he came back, he conquered it. Are we getting the language now? So when we get there, and let's see, before we even get to conquest of Mecca, maybe we'll have another 30 lessons before we even get there. So this is the time where we have to take this class very, very serious. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easier for us. Now we are going to be bringing maybe 2 to 3 stories on how difficult the migration is for the Muslims, and the now we are I'm on call. Okay. So now, Mela puts Baraka in it. So now let's go. Let's see some examples that we have here. Um, who is not sleeping? Let me know. Brother Brazak, are you with us? Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Yeah, I
Let's talk about
do. I
now.
do.
Jazakumullah khair. So we are going to be discussing, even in Rahikul Makhsum. This is the first person, the first example that is given. So we have the story of Abu Salamah. The story of Abu Salamah. Abu Salamah is said to be the first to migrate. And I was with my brother today, so we were talking about Abu Salamah. Like, okay, there's this misconception from this class that we mentioned Abu Salama earlier, and then I think it was later clarified after we searched about it that earlier we said Abu Salama was part of those who traveled to Abyssinia and then became murtad, but that is wrong. That is wrong. What we said, because everything is recorded, so we just have to re-say it here. So anyone that is serious that listens from where we mentioned Abu Salama to be a murtad will now listen to us now that we are retracting it. Allah forgive us. So we Ubaydullah ibn, is it Ubaydullah ibn Jash? Like Ubaydullah that we said that became a murtad is actually the husband of Salama, and not Salama. Habiba, and Habiba eventually became the wife of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is where the mix-up is coming. Habiba became the wife, Salama became the wife. But now Abu Salama and Salama, they are not the one that traveled to Abyssinia. Abu Salama and Salama, they are in Mecca. So they are doing, they didn't do the migration to Abyssinia. They did migration to, oh, sorry. I think they did the first migration to Abyssinia, but they came back. They didn't do the second migration. Yeah, let's get it right. So they came back and let me put it again. Sorry. Abu Salama and Salama, they did the first migration to Abyssinia. They came back. They didn't do the second migration. Now they are doing migration to Makkah again, to Madinah again, sorry. They're doing migration to Madinah again, and this type of people, they are called Suhaib or Hijrah, those that performed two Hijrah, and then they have another greater reward. Those that went to Abyssinia and still went to. So they've given up like twice just because of how the situation is. Now, the story of Abu Salama, he actually died in one of the battles, I think Uhud. So he died in Uhud, and then that was when Prophet Muhammad now married Salama. Now, so just for us to get it right, so now Abu Salama, we said, he is the first to migrate, and then is migrating with his son. What's the name of the son? Who can tell me? Very, very fast. Who can tell me what's the name of the son? Down now. Harith. The name of the son, Harith. Harith. Is that right? Brother Ibrahim. Is that right? Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know the name of the son that the story happened to, but I was expecting us to mention Salama, because we said Abu Salama, Salama. So I want us to be relating with with the stories like this. So if you have mentioned Salama, it will have been pleasant for me that I will just correct that. Okay, I'm not even sure if the son that the story happened on here is Salama, but Salama has another story in Seerah, a very short one. I assume it is Salama that the story happened on, like the son. But it is mentioned that Salama is not a female, is a male. So so the story happened that when he's traveling, uh, initially we should understand that Abu Salama and Salama, Abu Salama is not a Qurashi. So he came from another tribe to marry Salama. Now he's living in Mecca. Salama belongs to the tribe of Banu Makhzum, the tribe of that famous Firaun of the Ummah, Abu Jahl, tribe of Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. So he's like a cousin to Abu Jahl. So Salama, Salama rather, Salama and Abu Salama, they are married. As it gets by, so they now have a son. So when Abu Salama now planned to do Hijrah, he went and then with the Quraysh. The Quraysh caught him, and then they said, Oberesini Bafa. Okay, they started trying to fight him up, and then it's like, allow me to go. I don't have any issue with you. You know, all those type of engagements. So they actually said we can't allow you to go. Even you are not one of us, because they said, okay, you are not from our tribe. We can't allow you to take your wife who is from us. You understand? So Abu Jahl, we can't allow you to take your wife who is from us, and then the son, we can't allow you to take him because our lani, so you can do your own journey. So they allowed Abu Salama to go, and then there's nothing he could do. They took Salama and the son, they took her and the son, they took them down. So when the family of Abu Salama, they are not Qurashi, when they heard of what happened, they They came to come and fight for the son. Look at Jahiliyyah, and that is one thing we must understand about Jahiliyyah. Like within themselves, they know that honor, like gang mentality, just understand it as a cult mentality. But even if one of us is wrong, we will not allow you to do anything to him. If you want to punish anyone, we have to punish him ourselves. You understand? So they now said, how dare you do this to one of us? They came to challenge the tribe of Banu Makhzum. How dare you to do this to our own family? And then, Babalo Lomo, you know that kind of mentality, like the son actually belongs to us. Take your daughter, like take Salamah, but they want the son. So they started struggling with the son, that they dislocated the arm of the son. You can imagine. And it said that the son is even 2 years old then. So they dislocated the arm, and then they came to conclusion that so they eventually left they eventually took the baby to the family of Abu Jahl, not Abu Jahl, to the family of Abu Salamah. So they eventually took the baby, and now they left Salama in a devastated situation. Like, she lost her husband. Now they took the baby also. You understand? So it said that she narrated that she always go to the place that the sin happened, and then to cry for many weeks, and then one of the elders of Quraysh, one of the elders then now came in and then said, why are you people doing this? Allow the woman to have a kid and allow her to go and meet her husband. The husband that you can fight has already left. Why are you punishing her? So this is when the baby was returned back to Salama, and then Salama alone, she could not travel with anyone. The husband that was supposed to travel with her has left. So she went into the desert alone, and traveling between Mecca and Medina is a journey that no one, it's a 9 days journey, and it's a desert. Any ikoko le panya, she understand, and that's why you have to travel with sword. Even if you are not traveling with a fighting sword, you have to travel with a auxiliary sword. You understand? Like KB can in our modern time, because you know where you are walking. Walking in desert, any animal can come to attack you. So the Salama and our baby, they had to travel alone, and then it is said that when they got to a place called Tan'im, so Tan'im is a place very close to Mecca, but it is between Mecca and Medina. So they saw this man, Uthman ibn Talha. So they saw Uthman ibn Talha, and Uthman ibn Talha, now, I want us to be getting this thing right, please. So Uthman ibn Talha is a pagan now. He's not a Muslim yet. He's to become one of the last batch of the Muhaajirun. Like later in the Seerah, maybe 6 years later, him and Khalid bin Walid and Amr ibn Has later accepted Islam together, and we are going to be getting to that inshallah also. So Usman ibn Talha now saw them, and he now saw Salama and Abibi, like, where are you going? He said, I'm going to meet my husband. You are traveling alone in the desert. And this is to tell us that not all of the pagans, they had this. Not all of them are the same. And the replication of what we have then is what we are going to be having now. If you say you are non-Muslims, you say you have pagans around, you say you have Christians around, you say you have Jews around, not all of them are the same. There are people among them who have honor. There are people among them who are human. So the way they relate with you is how you are going to relate with them. And we should not bring in any indifferences or any differences of religious to be maltreating people or to have hatred on people. And when people do not deserve hatred, all of us are human as we are created. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the perfect manner us to deal with people. These are side points, and when we want to talk about them fully, we can come with a lot of details of the Quran, of how the Quran expected us to behave. Now, these are pagans that are helping the Muslims in the beginning of the Seerah. Let's not forget Muslim ibn Adi, as we said. So Usman ibn Talha was the one who took Salama to her husband in Cuba. Now, Usman ibn Talha, unprepared, he was not even prepared to go to Medina. He had to walk down to Medina. So he walked down to Medina, sacrificing himself. Like you can see, a complete gentleman. It's narrated that Usman ibn Talha, Salama, remarked that he has not seen any man who has honor as much as Usman ibn Talha because of what he did. He sacrificed himself. he said there was no camel. The only camel that was available was for Salamah, and he had to walk with the camel down. And he said that Usman Ibn Tola, when he's in the night, he's going to sleep under he's going to arrange place where Salama is going to sit under the shed, and he is going to find another place to sleep. Like you can imagine the way is so honorable, like how he managed the situation to take Salama to Kuba to meet his husband. So Usman ibn Talha, there are a lot of things to know about him also. And because he later become a Muslim, we should say some things. Like I said, he later converted to Islam, and he was the last part of the Muhaajirun. And let's not forget, why are we saying last part of Muhaajirun? Muhaajirun is a status. When you are a Muhajir, is a status that it has so honor. It has a high honor. Sorry, it has high honor in Islam, according to what Allah said in Surah Al-Fatih. لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل. It is not the same. Those that accepted Islam before the and who are those that accepted Islam before the Fatih of Makkah? These are the Muhajirun and the Ansar. Those that accepted Islam before the conquest of Mecca, they are not the same as those that are accepting Islam after the conquest of Mecca. So we should understand the Seerah in this light, and we should understand that verse in that order also. So Usman ibn Talha, we said, when he became Muslim, his family, they are the one that handles the key of Kaaba. So when he later became Muslim, Prophet ﷺ gave him the key of Kaaba again. Even when the Banu Hashim, the family of Prophet Muhammad said they want the key, Prophet Muhammad denied his own family to give the family of Usman ibn Talha. And he said, there is no one, up until the day of judgment, no one will collect the key of Kaaba from him. And up until today, we should know this, up until today, it is the descendants of family of Usman ibn Talha that key. If there is a new king in Makkah today, no one dares to collect the key of Kaaba from the family of Usman ibn Talha. So we can see how Allah made these people to become honored. And we can see how honorable this man is from his action towards Salama. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed good people with good things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually blessed him with Islam, and he blessed him with the key of Kaaba. So this is to motivate us, this is to encourage us to keep doing good things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make it easier for us. I would have loved to stop, but I do not want to start from here. So I need your permission to continue, or to tell us the remaining two stories before we round up today. We actually start late, so it's something that I can force the class, most of us. So I can actually say that we have to, because we want to start with the Hijrah of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the next class. And should we continue? So let me one of the things that people complain about in the exam that we did is that we should keep up to time. People that are complaining we should keep up to time are not even coming to class. So I'm now wondering. So should we continue? Should we say the two other now I'm not seeing your response, so it be like say when I don't sleep safe. لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من قبل الفتح وقاتل. So I'm going to assume everyone is asleep. That is why people are not responding. If you are not sleeping, should we continue or we should not? How many more minutes can we spare? How many more minutes? So I know, okay. 20 minutes. Okay, let's see. Let me see the number of hours we spent with the recording. I think that is when the class started. So we can, okay, we have 12 more minutes to make it an hour. So let's see what we can cover in within 12 minutes. Okay, extra 10 minutes, inshallah. Okay, now, the other story that we want to narrate to know how hard the Hijrah or doing Hijrah was so difficult for the Muslim It's the story of Suhaib bin Sinan ar-Rūmi, and very common if you know him, Suhaib ar-Rūmi, Suhaib ar-Rūmi. Now, Suhaib ar-Rūmi, like we said, ar-Rūmi means the Romans, and it is said that is actually not a Roman, but is an Arab who lived and grew up in Romans, and he has a facial look of Romans. You understand? So he's an Arab, and he was a slave in Rome then. So when he gained his freedom, he came down to Mecca to live his life, and then he accepted Islam. He accepted Islam with Ammar ibn Yasser, and like I said last week, like okay, was it last week? Maybe we were doing revision that Ammar ibn Yasser is a name that we're going to be hearing oftentimes in Seerah, and we should understand that it was the son of Yasir. Yasir, the husband of Sumayyah, that they were killed by Abu Jahl in the beginning of the Seerah. So Ammar ibn Yasir is a slave, and then Suhaib al-Rumi also is not a slave like that, but he's not a Qurashi, so he's like in a middle class, but he was a businessman, and then when he came, he was broke. Now, you should understand how the story, how the story that we are saying is going now. When he came, he was broke, and he had all his wealth in Mecca then. So Suhaib al-Rumi is that person that when he was doing his hijrah and he started migrating, the Quraysh, they crossed him, they double crossed him, they crossed him on the road, and they said, we cannot allow you to go. You understand? We explained the reason why they can't allow people to leave their city, because they know that Ofeloma ko agbára wa tó máa fi wá fight àwọn later, and because when they eventually have the honor and the izzah. So now Suhaib al-Rumi, when he was double crossed, Suhaib al-Rumi told them, he said in his own pouch, Nino Akpo Fire. So he said, I have 40 bows in my pouch, and I promise you, none of you is going to get close to me until I finish this pouch until each of these pouch tastes your blood. Meaning that we can imagine that kind of response is to tell us that those that double crossed him are much that he can't even fight them physically. He was traveling alone, doing Hijrah alone. He can't even fight them physically, but he's telling them that I will not stop until I use all the arrows in this pouch to finish each and every one of you. So, and then you know that this is pouch, this is arrows, and then they want to double cross him, so they actually submitted that, okay, we are not taking your life. What we want is from your wealth. You were broke when you were coming, and this is just gang mentality. This is just foolishness, complete foolishness. Wallahi azim. When you understand, and it's very, very sad that after so many years, some people still live life this way. Masirigun, like all these things, these are it does not even make sense to how life is supposed to be lived. Someone came to your city, he made his own money because he's living. You said the money has been made in your city and he has to drop it. Who thinks like this? If not for Jahiliyyah. And this is the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending to us. The liberation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to do. We can't even comprehend this because we are doing nowadays Islam and we don't even know how Islam was in the beginning. Now, Suhaib, they told him that we don't need anything from you. You know that, trying to denigrate him, that we are owó to make nílùú wa ni kò bá wa gbé. So Suhaib said he dropped all his wealth that he has packed, and he had no option than to even describe all the wealth that he has kept in his house and wherever he has buried his wealth. We know that then you have to bury your wealth. Tó bá náwó wà lọ wábì kan tí wàá lọ sin owó ẹ̀ sí ni, there's no bank, there's no OPay, huh? So there's no there's no all those things to keep your money. So he described all where he borrowed his wealth, and he left. In fact, his camel, everything was gone. He had to walk down from Mecca to Medina, walking. Subhanallah al-Azim. We cannot describe how walking in desert is, because it's even beyond imagination how painful it's going to be. So Eba Rumi walked down, and Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he remarked when he was told this story, like, Jibril revealed the story to him, and then he said, "Qad rabihat tijara," like Suhaib, Suhaib, Suhaib rather, not Suhaili. Suhaib ar-Rūmi, like your transaction has been successful. The transaction he made, like the trading he made for all his life, all his wealth, just for him to be able to practice Islam freely. So all these things is said that Allah Prophet said, "Qad rabihat tijara," like your transaction has been successful, and eventually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them in Medina, as we are going to see. So the last story that we want to narrate to see how difficult this traveling and a lot of incident that happened is the story of Umar ibn al-Khattab, Ayyash ibn Amr, am I saying it rightly? Ayyash ibn Amr, okay, Ayyash ibn Abi Rabiha and Hisham ibn As. Now, individually, let's just check them. Umar ibn al-Khattab, this is the Baba, you understand? We know him in the Seerah. No one dares to confront him. No one dares to confront Umar ibn al-Khattab. And it is said that ibn al-Khattab is the only person that when he's doing his own migration, he announced it. He came out publicly to the open. He said, I am doing my home migration in this time, and then Toba bid and go across me. You understand that it is I said it earlier today that because this class is a recorded one and not physical, so subhanallah. So you just have to be, because it's recorded, so we have to know how we are going to be narrating for misunderstanding. So Umar ibn al-Khattab, he said, if anyone who wants his father and his mother to lose him or to cry over him should cross me when I'm doing my own hijrah, and no one dares to do that. But initially, Umar ibn al-Khattab and Ayyash ibn Abi Rabi'a and Hisham ibn As, so they've made plan that our hijrah, the three of us are going to be doing hijrah together, and we are going to be meeting in a particular place, meaning that from your own house, let's get to this particular junction, then all of us will do it together at this particular time. They fixed it, and then they know that that kind of agreement, anyone who misses out, it must have meant that it has been cut or a delay has happened that could not make him to meet up again, and the two are going to leave. So Umar and Ayyash ibn Rabi'a, they met themselves in that place that they have agreed, and Hisham could not come, so they understood that Hisham has been stopped. So the two of them had to leave, and Hisham was detained. Hisham was arrested, and Hisham was put in the dungeon, in the tubu. So of Hisham's ibn As sinu tubu. Now, who is Ayyash ibn Abi Rabi'a? Ayyash ibn Abi Rabi'a is said to be the brother of Abu Jahal from another father. As it gets mentality, like how it works. And Tikoba, because that's what we are explaining. We are not doing genealogy now, so we cannot take time on that. So he's the brother of Abu Jahl from another father rather. So they have the same mother. So Ayash, okay, Hisham ibn As. Hisham ibn As is the brother of Amr ibn As. Kodaru now. Amr ibn As, Hisham ibn As. So Hisham ibn As is the brother of Amr ibn As, meaning that Hisham ibn As has accepted Islam in this time that we are talking about. So now, Hisham ibn As was the one that is detained. Ayash and Umar, they actually traveled. And then when they got to Medina, um, Abu Jahl and Al Harith, Abu Jahl and Al Harith, and when he two brother Ayash, they came to Medina. They came to come and meet Ayash, and then they tried to trick him. They told him a lot of stories that, ever since you left, our mothers has refused to eat. They bribed him, they blackmailed him with a lot of emotions. Our mother has refused to read. She's dying. So until Hayash became soft, like, what am I going to do? And Umar was warning Hayash that, what is it if your mother could not eat? This type of response, like, if she's hungry, she's going to eat now. What kind of excuse is that? They want you to return back to Makkah, and then you should know, you cannot imagine what these people are going to do. But these people, they are the brother of Ayash, and Ayash could not imagine them doing what they will not do. Like, he already escaped, like, but unfortunately, when Ayash was returning on their way, they tricked Hayash, they jumped on him and they tied him down, and then they took him back to Mecca, and they walked him in the front of everyone, and they threatened everyone that if you make an attempt, this is what we are going to do to you. And they throw Ayash into the same cell with Isham ibn Ham. Sure, you understand. But eventually, after Prophet Sallallahu did migration to Hijrah, well, sorry, when he did migration to Medina, so one of the first thing that he did was that he asked that who is going to rescue Hisham and Ayash, who is going to rescue Hisham and Ayash, and like some of them, it is Al Walid ibn Al Walid, the brother of Khalid ibn Al Walid, the brother of Khalid ibn Al Walid, Khalid ibn Al Walid, his brother Al Walid ibn Al Walid has already accepted Islam also. So it was him that volunteered to risk his life to go and rescue him, and the rescue was successful. And when we get there, we will explain better. So um, the last thing, like a lot of Muslims, we said that they were detained just because they are trying to do immigration to where they are going to be able to do their Islam at peace, yeah, in peace rather, to where they are going to be able to do their Islam in peace. And anyone that is caught, they put them in prison. And this one, this example, the Suhail ibn Hamr. Suhail ibn Hamr is to accept Islam later in the Seerah also, and he has very famous story during the conquest of Makkah, the negotiation, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah rather. So he has a very famous story during the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. So Suhail ibn Hamr, he has two sons. The two sons are named Abdullah and Abu Jandal. Suhail ibn Amr, instead of him, he knows that his two sons are going to do migration. He tied up his own son and he put them in cell. You can imagine. Kéèyàn fi ọmọ rẹ̀ kó dé mọ́nú túbú just because they want to travel. And eventually Abdullah escaped. And if we are going to mention him, we are going to mention him, Abdullah ibn Suhail. So he escaped. But Abu Jandal could not escape, and Abu Jandal was prosecuted up until the negotiation of Treaty of Hudaybiyah. And even in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, another thing happened, that be he could not be left, he could not be freed, and he had to even uh, return to. Let's not mix up the story. So I think it is clearer this way if we just limit it to where we are and not trying to go forward and backward. And this is the stage where we are. If you are not putting mind in this class by this time, everything is just going to be convincing. But I believe that we've gone far enough to take us front and back, just for us to understand the present things we are discussing. Our discussion today is Hijrah mainly. We started from the second bay'ah, and now we are concluding the Hijrah of Muslims and how difficult it is. Next week we are going to be talking about the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Bakr, Ali, and those that were left. So this, after the Muslims they migrated, it is now left with we have left in Mecca the Prophet himself, Abu Bakr, and Ali. And this is when the famous incidents of the Quraysh planning to kill him, this is when it's going to happen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease our affairs, and may He make the application of the lessons learned from these classes, may He make it easier for us. This is where we are going to end. I don't know if you have any question. If you have any question, let's just take it briefly. If not, we've used extra time today, and what can we do? Now, do we have any question, or we just call it a night and we meet on Friday, inshallah?
This question.
Okay, so if there is no question, we will meet on Friday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.